You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County, Monday through Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Thursday at 11 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listening to the sound of my voice. It's a freezing day here in Gwinnett County, 36 degrees, going up to a high of only 46. At least it's not raining. You know, we had rain. It was cloudy yesterday. It's not raining today, so I'm not going to complain. It's a little chilly. I had to put on like a sweater on top of a sweater because I was cold. You know, some people say that's not even cold. Like my brother was telling me, girl, that's not cold. He's still in Jersey. It's cold to me. I've been out here 7 years, so I'm still kind of cold. So, but anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. It's Thursday, February 27th. We are almost out of this month. You hear me? We are almost done. Got a guest in studio with me today, sitting at the table. We're going to be talking live about politics. You know, I talk a lot about politics. I'm going to be talking, listen, I know, I'm going to be talking more business owners, but you know, right now, it's a politician that's coming to me. He's not a politician yet. Right, he would say he's not a politician, and we're going to find out who he really is and what position he's running for here in Gwinnett County. But before I do that, you know what time it is. It's time for your horoscopes, brought to you by noted astrologer Michael Thousand for today, Thursday, February 27th. And we're going to kick it up like we always do with Aries. Joining organizations will provide you with stimulating romantic contacts. Okay, Aries. Okay, you got to join some organizations, though. You should be making plans to spend time with the ones you love. Now, listen, I hope the person that you're going to be spending time with is that person that, you know, I don't know. Don't do too many. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot. You may be angry if someone tries to take credit for something you did. Don't let them take your credit. Stand up for yourself. Taurus, don't consume more than necessary. I don't know if that's food, drink. I don't know what that is. Just don't do too much of it. I don't know. You should check out prestigious clubs or groups that have a cause you believe in. Uncertainty regarding your mate may merge. Reevaluate what you can see in each other. That's so special. Sometimes you just got to go back and find out why you fell in love in the first place. Reevaluate that. See, can you see it again? Sometimes you just can't see it. Unfortunately, I'm just saying. Gemini, you may find that you are a little lucky today. Okay, Lady Luck is on your side, Gemini. Shoot a little bit over here to me, please. Don't make excuses. You will have a problem sorting out your true feelings when it comes to your relationship. Oh, Lord, I think this is going to be a relationship day. It just sounds like it's not. Normally it's money. Today it sounds like relationship. So, Gemini, you got Lady Luck on your side, but you got to sort out them feelings. Get it on out there. Cancer, you may find that you are a little lucky today. Okay, luck for you too. All right. Hope when we get to Pisces, it's got some luck in it. I'm just going to wait till I get there, though. Turn your present relationship around or start a new one. There's a relationship again. Real estate and joint financial ventures will be profitable. Okay, so listen, Cancer, you got a lot going on. You got some real estate going on. You got some money going on. You got a good day today. I should be in your shoes, maybe. Maybe not. Leo, you may have the energy to clear up the mound of paperwork you're facing. That means you've been procrastinating. Think before you act. New relationships will surface through work and related events. Okay, there's another relationship. It's all about relationships. I feel like I'm back at Valentine's Day. Well, it was all about relationships. Clean up the paperwork. You may have a great relationship today. Virgo, don't be too eager to start any debates. I missed a debate on Tuesday. I missed it. I don't know what I was doing. Travel will be most enticing. Consider a cruise. Listen, Virgo. We just can't. Listen, I was supposed to be speaking in Belize in June. I was excited. It was 8 days. We canceled the day before yesterday. Everybody canceled because of the coronavirus. So I don't know if you want to cruise, Virgo. I mean, our whole group canceled. It was like I was all excited to be speaking about podcasting on another cruise. And the cruise organizer called and said, we canceled. And I'm like, for real? She's like, yes. So I don't know about the cruise part. I saw the people hanging out the window on the cruise like we just stuck. So you might want to think about that. Dealing with the in-laws or relatives will be in your best interest. Or would not. Okay, don't listen. I mean, in-laws, you still got to live with them, Virgo. Listen, I got to go. I'll be right back after this song to give you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Michael Thompson. You're listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. Stay tuned.
1, 2, Love should be easy. Why should it not? When all you want is to be loved, is to be loved. But love ain't easy. You taught me that. I let you in, now you want out, now you want out. I don't understand why you hurt me. I don't understand why you wanna let me down. Can't understand. Was it all worth it? You played me good just for a rush, just for a rush. So now I wrote a song about us with tears running down my face. Now I wrote a song about us, just trying to fill that empty space you left behind. You left behind, you left behind, you left behind. You left behind, you left behind. Can someone help me to find love again? 'Cause all I want is to be loved, is to be loved. Can someone free me from all my doubts? Feels like a prison, I want out, now I want out. I don't understand why you hurt me. I don't understand why you wanna let me down. Can't understand. Was it all worth it? You played me good just for a rush, just for a rush. So now I wrote a song about us with tears running down my face. Now I wrote a song about us, just trying to fill that empty space you left behind. You left behind, you left behind, you left behind. You left behind, you left behind. So now I wrote a song about us with tears running down my face. Now I wrote a song about us, just trying to fill the empty space you left behind. You left behind, you left behind. Oh, you left behind. You left behind, you left behind.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. It's girl Audrey giving you the daily horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thies. I'm going to pick it up with Libra. You may not lead someone on or show interest in them for the wrong reasons. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do it. It's wrong. You can make money through real estate or by using your head when it comes to personal investments. Expect to experience a sudden reversal of fortune. Okay, I hope that's in a good way for you. Here's the thing, too. If you're working with some investments and you don't know what you're doing, make sure you consult with a professional. You know, I say that all the time because you could lose your shirt, your house, your kids, everything. Just make sure that you know what you're doing. Scorpio, you can make money if you concentrate on producing services that will make domestic chores easier. It will do you some good. You may want to take a look at courses offered at a local institute. Listen, I'm all about learning. I heard this lady say this morning, I was listening to a podcast on the way over here. She said, I'm a course junkie. I was like, I like that name. I was like, a course junkie. It's like, I take a course on everything. I was like, I understand. I love the name, no course junkie. I was like, that's kind of cool. You got course junkies out there. You got people that just learn. They don't do anything with it, but they just like to learn. Sagittarius, the locks, stove, gas, or electric wires may not be secure. Check that out. Prove your worth, concentrate on getting the job done, and steer clear of office, politics, and gossip. Listen to the complaints of others. Listen, don't stand around the water cooler today, Sagittarius. It's not for you to do. Stay away from the gossip and the politics in the office, especially if you're not the boss. You could lose your shirt. Capricorn, talk to people who can give you important knowledge. You may find yourself in an uncomfortable situation if you have overloaded your plate unintentionally. Don't take your frustrations out on loved ones. You did it. Don't be trying to take that stuff out on nobody else. Take some stuff off your plate. Unload the plate. Dump it. Dump the whole plate. Start over. Aquarius, travel will result in new romantic attractions. Your ability to be a self-starter will help you get things done and motivate others. Show what a dedicated person you can be. Okay, Aquarius, be a stand-up person today. Got some new romance to do a little traveling. Travel down to the park. You never know. And my fellow fish, Pisces. Attempt to face key issues with lovers or problems could escalate. Oh, Lord. That's not what we want to hear today. We didn't want to hear that, Michael. That's not what we want to hear. If you can't trust someone, question the connection. Look into projects. Sorry, y'all. Look into the projects that you feel will contribute something to your appearance. Okay, what is that project? A new hairdo? Shave my beard? What is that project? I'm just saying. So listen, that's all the horoscopes I got for you today. I'll be back on, what's the day? Thursday? I'll be back on Monday to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Tyson. Because you know today is Thursday and I don't work on Friday. Not with you guys anyway. But I'll be back to bring you more of the horoscopes. Now we're going to move on to our guest who's in the studio. Mr. Andy Morgan, who is an attorney here in Gwinnett County, has decided to jump into this race with this. It's crowded. Into this crowded race for the chairman seat here for Gwinnett County for Commissioner, who the seat right now is held by Commissioner Charlotte Nash, who's been there for quite some time, and she has decided that she is done. And we have a whole roster of people that say, I want to do it, and I want to know why. So, welcome, Andy.
Good morning, Gwinnett.
There it is. Listen, he said good morning. You know where I got that from? Have you ever seen Good Morning Vietnam?
Yep.
With Robert Williams? That's what I really be wanting to say, but I be like, good morning all my Gwinnetians. I be trying to be,
Going down a little bit.
Yes. So thank you for being here with me this morning. I know you're a busy man and you're about to be busier if you win this seat. So I know you were born in Jamaica. I had the great pleasure of visiting Jamaica, Montego Bay. That's the first time I had jerk chicken in my life.
Great.
And I ate so much jerk chicken. I ain't gonna tell you what happened to me, but I ate so much jerk chicken when I was in Jamaica. Let me tell you a quick story. So I had never left the country. I had left the country. I went to the Bahamas, but in the Bahamas, your money is the same. Mm-hmm. You don't have to turn it over. It's just the dollar's a dollar in the Bahamas. So I get to Jamaica, right? And I was with my boyfriend at the time, and his brother and his girlfriend. We're in Jamaica, and we get to the airport, and they said, "Okay, you got to exchange your money." So we gave them like $300, and they gave us back like a stack of money, like $2,600. And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're rich! We are rich. We're gonna be rich in Jamaica." So we get to the store, and I'm downtown at the store, and I'm in the store, and I like Oreo cookies, so I'm looking at the cookies, and I'm like, "Does it say $36 for these cookies?" Right? I was like, so then I looked at Pringles, because they had some Pringles, and they said $36. I said, "Excuse me, sir, what does that say?" He said $36. I said, "What?" So then I realized I wasn't rich.
Yeah, conversion.
I realized right then you are not rich. You got to pay $36 for a pack of Oreos.
To US dollars.
Yeah, even with that, I think in US dollar it was like $6 for the Oreo cookies. And I was like, $6 so we ate very little at the store. Everything was at the hotel after that. But I had an amazing time when I was in Montego Bay. It was one of the things that I've always and I gotta tell y'all another quick story. Listen, don't judge me. It wasn't me. So my boyfriend at the time, he and his brother went down to the beach, and on one side of the beach they had like, I guess you could call them shacks or whatever. Mm-hmm. But on the other side, we were staying at the Wyndham downtown Montego Bay, and it was right next to Rose
Hall.
Yes, down the street. We was right down the street from Rose Hall. That's a haunted house, by the way. And we went there because I like all that stuff. But anyway, he comes back down the beach, right? He has on nothing but his shorts. And I said, "Well, what happened to your shoes and your hat and your shirt?" He had traded it all for some ganja. Traded all his clothes.
Weed.
Yes. He came back. All he had on was his shorts. He gave everything away for the ganja. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to jail." He came all the way to Jamaica just to go to jail. But anyway, that's my Jamaica story. So I know you were born in Jamaica and you were raised in.
I was raised in Brooklyn, New York. So I came to the U.S. at the age of 4.
Okay.
My folks immigrated before me. So that's actually the story is basically that's when I actually first met my parents at the age of 4. I was raised by my grandparents. Okay. And they immigrated before, just trying to pave the way for the family. And so I met my mom for the first time at that point in time. Wow. Got on a plane. It's almost like one of those storybook things where you see this nice lady come, junior high, my mom. I was like, wow. So that's sort of how I got to the U.S. And my parents were basically blue collar. My mom initially, she was a domestic worker, and then she became a nurse's aide.
Okay.
And my dad came to the U.S. and learned steam fitting, which is a union trade.
Okay.
And back in the 70s when they came, even in New York, you had unions which were basically discriminatory, and they actually had to sue to get their opportunity to become a tradesman in the union. So they've gone through their situation, but through perseverance and motivation, which they've driven me as well, to strive, to move forward and try to make them proud. And so that's sort of my upbringing, sort of my history in terms of where we started out.
Well, I could tell you they must have did a really great job, because not only does he have a law degree, he has an engineering degree. So I'm saying to myself, okay, this guy has an engineering degree and a law degree. He is a bad man, because both of those are tough. Let me just tell you that. So you grew up in New York. How was that experience? Because people that never lived or visited New York is an experience. That's what it is. So let's talk about your experience growing up in New York.
Sure. I mean, New York, as most people know, is just about the most diverse place in the world.
Yeah.
So you have people from all over coming to New York. And so I've experienced that just in terms of my working life and school life and everything else, just in experiencing different cultures and different things like that. I will tell you that growing up in New York in the early 70s wasn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. Growing up, you during that time you have to learn to be street smart and know how to navigate the community and try to keep your head straight, because you can always end up in the wrong environment with the wrong people at the wrong time. You never know what happens. And so growing up, I've always kept that in mind. That my parents instilled in me the desire to make sure that I made something myself, and the desire to make sure I moved ahead and moved the family forward. And so I always kept that in mind. But growing up, it's let them know who you need to know in the community in order to be able to survive. And those are some of the things that concern me all the time, including here in Gwinnett, is to ensure that young people have other opportunities so they don't end up in situations where they have to turn to wrong environments or wrong people in order to survive in the community.
Right.
So I basically lived in Brooklyn until my early teens, and then I moved to Queens, New York. Went to high school in Brooklyn Technical High School, which sort of got me interested in engineering and science and math. I found that I was good at it, and I was fortunate to get a scholarship to go to Comission, which is a local engineering college in New York. I was fortunate because it's interesting how pathways open up for us sometimes. I started a pre-college prep program in high school. So my last year of high school was literally just showing that I could handle college work at the college level at Comission. And, it's interesting how people come into your life. But there's a dean there. His name was Dean Lucchese, the Italian guy. And he recognized me. He said, you're doing pretty well. How would you like to come to school? And I said, I'd love to, because the school was tuition-free at the time. And to get a 4-year scholarship, tuition-free school, and everybody went there, it was tuition-free. But it was in demand. And, so fortunately that was an opportunity to open up for me. And engineering was a tough degree to follow through on. But I stuck through it and made some good friends. Again, a very diverse environment. And I enjoyed that. I can keep going, but I don't know where you want me to stop.
I'm about to jump in right here. So you went to engineering school, and obviously you could have had a great career just as an engineer. What made you decide now that you want to become a lawyer, an attorney? Sure.
I graduated in the early 90s, and so at that time the U.S. was going through a correction of sorts. I was one of the thousands of people who worked for Citicorp in Manhattan, which is a big bank, but many people were employed by them. And I was doing engineering type work, but not the kind of work I wanted to do. I was doing a lot of programming, some network design. And so after a year or so, I decided, okay, I have options. I can either move on and go back and get an engineering degree, get a master's degree in business, or get a law degree. And after thinking about all the different options, I thought, I could probably do more with a law degree going forward in terms of being more engaged and hopefully making a difference. So back then I always thought that I'd be doing something, but never really moved in that direction just yet. So I did go after a law degree, 3 years at New York University. Enjoyed all 3 years. Met some wonderful people, got exposed to more ideas. During my time there, I worked with the Juvenile Rights Clinic, which basically provided representation for young people who got involved in the criminal justice system, with the expectation of getting those records expunged if they perform properly. Mm-hmm. So it was an opportunity to help young people, mm-hmm. give them exposure to other people, and show them that we are actually doing something different. This is what you can do.
Right.
Just seeing minority law students and knowing that there are other options for them out there.
So now, when you look back in retrospect, because technology is like everywhere, it's not going mm-hmm. anywhere. It's expanding. Mm-hmm. Do you wish you had stayed in the engineering space, or do you prefer to be in the legal space?
I love technology. I love everything about technology, but I'm happy where I am. Okay. The reality is that sometimes you can become very focused in a microcosm, mm-hmm. and that's not something that I wanted to do, mm-hmm. even with my law practice. Mm-hmm. Folks recognized that I had an engineering degree and asked me, "Why don't you go into patent law?" Which is what people usually do, mm-hmm. because you have to have a specialized science or engineering degree to do that. And my view was, yeah, that's right, you'd probably expect me to do that, but the reality is that I don't want to be pigeonholed, and mm-hmm. so I usually sometimes like to go against the grain. And I thought that there'd be more opportunity in doing what I'm doing now, which is basically business law. Mm-hmm. So I started mergers and acquisitions, which was basically exposing me to different kinds of businesses, different ways of doing business, and just structuring deals. Okay. And I enjoyed that. So looking back, I'm glad I got the engineering degree because it helped me to look at things differently. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't change my path at all. I think I'm happy with it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So now let's fast forward to Gwinnett County. We are all transplants here. I met when I first got here, they were like, nobody in Gwinnett County grew up in Gwinnett County. I said, what do you mean? Like, everybody's a transplant from somewhere. So I was called a transplant. I felt like an alien. Mm-hmm. How did you get to Gwinnett County?
It happened rather quickly, actually. Throughout the years, I've been going back and forth to Atlanta. My folks were the first ones who dipped their toes down here and brought me down. They were looking at some property. Mm-hmm. They got something way down in Henry County. Mm-hmm. And so I go back and forth, and I actually ended up buying something down there as well, mm-hmm. Just based on moving around. And also it was around the same time the Olympics was here. Mm-hmm. So, fast forward a number of years, I'm now married, having already worked in New York for many years, hustle and bustle of life in New York and everything like that, jumping on trains every day and getting crammed in. And she said, I'm ready to get out of here. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for a change of pace. And at the time, my son was very young. He was only 2 years old. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, if we're going to make a change, I guess this is probably the best time, especially for him, mm-hmm. Since, he can now grow up in another environment and get exposed. And so we came back and forth. We came down and came to Gwinnett County. And we looked around, from New York, you come down and look at these houses, like, wow. I can this.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm one of those folks who drove the prices up. But but we came down and we fell in love with the area and with the community, and we stayed because basically, above all, I like the outdoors, I like the environment, I like the park system in Gwinnett County in particular. Mm-hmm. When I had more time, I would go jogging in the parks. One that's right over here, Mulberry Park, mm-hmm. beautiful park. So that's one of the things that has really kept us here is the quality of life. Mm-hmm. It's not nearly as congested as New York had been in the New York experience. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that sold me on it was when I came down here, the service that I got from a county employee was surprising, to say the least. You go to DMV to change your plate and everything else. You go to some places and your number, next. So I show up and says, "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" What?
Right.
Talking to me?
Right.
So I mean that sort of hospitality was a little surprising, and so but I appreciate it.
My husband and I, we moved to North Carolina some years ago, and my daughter I think she was 14 at the time, and everybody was waving. And she's like, "Why is everybody waving?" I said, "Girl, we down south. It's that southern hospitality." It was hilarious because, hey. And she was like, "Why is everybody?" Yeah, right. No, it was crazy. But I love this. I used to tell people I lived in Jersey most of my life, but I was telling them, listen, my soul lives in the South. I'm going back home. And when the opportunity came this time, I was like, I'm going to Georgia. So I can understand. And I've been in Gwinnett almost 7 years, and I love it here. And people probably think, they probably get tired of me saying it, but I just love it here. And people say to me all the time, "So do you really like it?" I'm like, "No, I really love it. I don't like it. I love it. I love it here." So So now you're here in Gwinnett. How long have you been here?
I've been here since 2007, so
Okay.
going on 13 years now.
13 years.
Yeah.
So you're here in Gwinnett County. You got a great practice, and now you want to be the county commissioner. Chairman, not just the regular commission, you want to be chairman, which is very crowded right now. There's a lot of people vying for that seat. Why? Why do you want to? Because I'm going to interview Nicole next week, Nicole Henderson, and then I'm interviewing Kurt Thompson after that. And he's also an attorney. Nicole has a very nice position over at Gwinnett County, but as of tomorrow she won't because she's stepping down. Why? Why that position?
I think to go back to basically my feeling about being engaged in the community and doing things. I think that public service is extremely important. It's one of the highest callings you can actually do. And over the years, I've been doing different things in public service. At some point while I was in New York, I was on a board for New Jersey high school called the Chad School Foundation.
Yep.
And so I would go back and forth to New York, from New York to there, just because I wanted to be engaged and wanted to give back. And I've sort of carried that view throughout, in terms of whether it's trying to be a big brother, mentor to someone else, going to the schools to talk about my career path and trying to educate young people and encourage them to stay engaged. Doing things such as coaching soccer, things like that for seasons, and being engaged on the board of Habitat for Humanity. So I've been doing different things. But they've all been on a part-time basis because I've always had to come back to my real job to make my living.
Right.
And so basically, thinking about it, and I've been thinking about it for several years, is I want to shift. I want to become more engaged. I want to be able to focus on doing something in the community that's going to help people's lives going forward. And last summer, I went to Hope Global Forum downtown.
I was there.
And he basically put a challenge out there to everybody. He said, what are you going to do to make a difference in your community? And, on the way back, I was with my friend, and we were talking about it, and said, you know what, I know Charlotte's not running yet. The position's going to be open. I think I'm going to run for it. And put myself out there and let people decide. And if I don't get it, that's fine. I'll find something else to become more engaged, but this is the path I'm going to be on. And so that's sort of how I finally came to that conclusion. But it's really about just trying to be engaged and trying to serve my community and trying to do more.
So now that being said, so a lot of people love Charlotte. They love all the things that she's done here. What do you see? There's a need right now in the county. Where do you see there's a need that you can get in there and fix?
Well, countywide, there are the major issues that we all talk about. We talk about transportation. We talk about affordable housing.
Yes.
We talk about homelessness. So those are all things that yes, we should have been planning forward for and thinking forward.
Right.
Some of the things we're just finally recognizing. It's been there, but it's in some ways it's probably been ignored, and the county commission hadn't paid really attention to it.
Okay. What are some of those things?
Not a positive light. Well, transportation is one of the key ones. It's been an issue for us for many years, but the county has not pushed it recently until the last go around when it came back on the ballot, and where it actually got support, primarily from many of the business folks and others who are trying to move the county forward.
Right.
And, same thing with affordable housing. Right now, it's a problem throughout the nation. And so we have to be more proactive in finding ways to work, not just with the nonprofits, but also with the business sector. Say, okay, we can use grants, we can use tax credits, we can use other things. Come on over here, we have the demand for it. Let's find a way to work together trying to solve this solution and find a solution to this problem. Diversity is also a major thing. Where a lot of these things are now just being recognized. Okay. But it has been there. Diversity in terms of how we become more inclusive in the hiring practice in terms of the county itself, so the county is more reflective, especially at the upper levels of the community as a whole. Right. And in terms of how we do the practice, do our hiring. Also in terms of how we do our contracts. The county puts out a lot of money. They do. And I think that we need to do something to ensure that people within the county benefit from that. We have our own businesses here.
It's funny you bring that up because I've heard that so much that there are so many contracts and there's so much development going on right now. And what I've heard when I'm talking to people is that the contracts go to the same people over and over again, and that's a problem. And so how do you fix that? Because that's a system that's been in place for a long time. How do you fix that? And
I've looked at the grading system, and it's somewhat subjective in terms of how these contracts are put out. But I think there's probably also a learning curve we have to provide to our people in our community, and then bring them into the county. Say, okay, this is how we do things. This is how you apply for this contract, and walk people through it. I know that Gwinnett Tech has a program that does that for people who do federal contracts. We should be doing the same thing here in Gwinnett County. We want the money to stay in our county to service and benefit our business owners. And there's no reason why we can't do that. We just have to educate people and encourage them to come out and apply for those contracts. The other thing we could probably do is those big contracts we do give out to some of these big players. We have to put some pressure on them and say, okay, we're going to give you a big contract, but we want you to do something about employing some of our folks here in the community so we can keep some of the money here. And, that should be part of the grading process. What are you going to do in order to help to benefit this county if we actually give this big contract? And, those are some of the things I'm thinking of. Also, in terms of just bringing in, we talk about inclusivity. The county needs to factor in language differences and language barriers, and find ways to provide those resources to folks who don't necessarily speak English as a first language, but do have business experience, knowledge, and want to do something in the community. So they can find out what resource they can get to in their language, or have a liaison of some sort they can connect to and say, okay, this is what I want to do, where do I go? And help them to make that connection.
It's so surprising that we are such a diverse community that there are not those type of programs in place right now. Are there not?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Not that I'm aware of.
And
when we talk to folks in the communities, one of the things they say is that they don't know what's going on, and that's primarily because they just don't have the connections in the county to get the information the way they need to. And sometimes I push it back on them and say, okay, well, you need to basically have community organizations that are going to inform people in the community about what's going on and serve the connection to the county. But in some ways, the county has to do some of that outreach. It has to go out there and reach out to some of these organizations and say, look, we want you to be our conduit. When we send information out, you need to make it available to people in your community. So it takes time to build those relationships. But at the end of the day, we do have to find ways to do it. And when you talk about diversity as well, you look at situations where you have silos. It's wonderful to say Gwinnett is diverse, but we're diverse in a polka dot way. We're not diverse in a
What do you
mixed.
mean by that?
Well, basically, you have, and it just. I guess I don't want to be trying to be politically correct in terms of describing people.
Just be correct. Correct. We want you to be correct.
So basically, we have silos. We have Koreans here. We have the Spanish community there. We have African Americans over here. And so we have communities of different cultures, but we're not melding in the way that we need to be able to do to be truly diverse. So so if you took a sampling of one spot, it might not be as diverse as you think it is. But yes, we talk about how diverse the county is. And so we have to find ways to try to make sure we meld together as a diverse population. Otherwise, I think it's going to be somewhat difficult.
So that being said, there are some communities, and I'm not going to name the community. They just won't. They don't want to meld with anybody. So how do you get that community to say, hey, we are a diverse community here. We want to get to know you guys and come on and work together because some of them. They don't want to work. They don't want to. We're gonna stay on our side, and you probably know what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, like, how do you break that barrier and get them to say, hey, let's.
You're right, and that's a challenge. And usually we probably have to start with our young people primarily because that's where you get the differences. And usually it's the second generation, and so we have to make sure that we remain inclusive in terms of what we do. And I think that's where we're gonna have to start. But at the end of the day, we can still have activities and we have to think outside the box in terms of how we do it. Because if we say that we're diverse, then it should be something we champion as a community. And whether it means hosting an event where we host an event in a particular community, invite everybody from the county to go there to sample whatever it is, whether it's art, food, whatever it is, that we can now interact on a human level, so we can see, okay, I like that, that's different, but I like it, and that defines your culture. And so by doing that, we can humanize each other and recognize that we're all the same, but we have something different to offer.
So Gwinnett does a lot of events. That was one of the things I loved when I moved here. There's just so many things that happen throughout from the spring all the way through the fall. Now I'm thinking there's not an international day or anything like that goes, because there's so much that goes on. There's no Gwinnett International Day, and I'm probably giving you something here.
I think I remember that we used to have a night market, international night market, that came through, and it was done by a private organization, and I thought it was a wonderful thing because at that event, they did one down at Pleasant Hill. And at that event, what happened was that they showcased all the different cultures, all the different foods, all the different artistry and talent, and it was heavily attended. And if we can do something like that in Gwinnett County on a regular basis, I think it will go a long way to champion the fact that we are a diverse community and recognizing the different cultures we have here. And it's just an experience.
I think that's a great idea. Now here's my question to you though, because I think a lot of times when I've talked to people on the county level about certain things with this show, like this show is all about Gwinnett, and to get support for that has been a little bit rough. Like listen, I can talk to people all day long, especially if they got a cell phone. Like they can listen to me live every day as I bring them news. So it's been a little bit of a challenge to get them to, say, hey, well, how can we partner and work with you together? Work together with you. So that being said, there may be a company out there right now and say, listen, I would love to do this, but I can't do it by myself, right? What do you say to that person if you get elected to this seat? How would the commissioner help move something like that forward? Because I'm sure there are people out there who wouldn't mind. I think it's a great opportunity. Because trying to get to work with the government to me has been like, okay, I'm just pulling teeth, so I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm going to do this show and just do what I do.
It's really a question of where we put our emphasis and where our vision is. We do have community outreach. I mean, that is a department.
And they do a great job.
And so that could be a part of what community outreach is about. I mean, it's about collaboration and organizing, reaching out to different organizations and pulling something together that can showcase what we have to offer. So I don't see it as being something difficult. Okay. And I think the hard part is putting the first one together. And once you do that, you can then grow upon something, once a year, twice a year, every quarter, whatever it is, and move around the county.
I think that's a great idea.
It'll be like a major county event we all go to and have our politicians be there and speak and recognize the importance of the gathering and recognize the events and move forward.
I think that's a great idea. I lived in Jersey my whole life, and I didn't eat Indian food till I got here. Yeah. Wow. And so curry chicken to be exact. And then I fell in love, like, oh my God, I've been missing this my whole life. So I think that's a great idea because I think a lot of times if you don't, like Georgette loves Ethiopian. I haven't eaten that yet, right? So she loves Ethiopian, but it'll be nice to have a place where you can kind of just go and sample a little bit of everything. And I got to tell you, I did try something. I forgot what it was. It gave me an allergic reaction. So I'm like, oh God, some kind of chicken. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't Indian. It was something. My daughter's a foodie. She likes food, so she just goes around and try all this stuff. Okay, so let's get on to some. Let me see how much time we got. Oh God. Okay, we got a few moments. Okay, so tell us some of the things that you. Let's talk about small business for a minute because that's something near and dear to my heart. I'm a small business owner, been one for a very long time, and I know a lot of the things that we do are really on a micro business level. And a lot of the organizations here in Gwinnett County kind of really focus on big business. Even though they say it's, we're for the small business person, it really is not. And I know because I've kind of been out there talking and being a part of some of these organizations that really are not, really focus on helping us move forward to get to that level where we are like a big business. What are some of the things that you see that you can put in place to help small business owners? I'm going to say micro businesses because small businesses like up to 50 employees. These are like mom and pops, one person consulting kind of things, and they may not have the resources to compete with the big dogs in Gwinnett County, but they want to. So, what do you have anything for us?
I agree that small business is important. I think that as far as the agenda, and I'm just rolling back a little bit in terms of why I think it fits, we're continuing to grow very fast in the county. And we can't just expect companies to come in all the time and provide for the economic growth that we need to have. And so we have to grow some of that organically, including in incentivizing entrepreneurs to get out there and try to start businesses so we can provide good quality jobs in Gwinnett County. Part of that would probably have to be, I would say, coordinating with the county chair, with the county chamber, with the chambers, and also we have Georgia SCORE, and also I'm trying to remember the name of the organization, but basically there are federal agencies.
SBDC.
Exactly. So we'd have to work with them And I think that we should also have a department in the county, which I believe we're already establishing, a small business development department, which will provide resources to business owners and explain them how to navigate the registration requirements and things like that in order to get their business started. I think we also need to look at the fees and the process that we have in the county to make sure that we streamline it. Because I hear complaints from many people that say that the cost of starting a business in the county is exorbitant for new business owners. And so I had to look at the licensing requirements and what needs to happen and see if we can streamline some of that, make it less expensive for people to get off the ground and get started. So those are some of the things I think we need to do, and to incentivize it and drive business growth.
Another thing I find is a challenge for small business owners is the access to capital. I know that when I was in Jersey, we had what was called block grants for different things. And a lot of times when you talk about a grant, it's always for a nonprofit. Do you see there being an opportunity to have these type of grants for small business owners in maybe small pockets of grants or something that are not nonprofits?
I'd have to research that. Because I'm not sure how that would be structured.
Okay.
I can see more spending government funds to provide resources for training and things like that.
Okay.
But we'd probably have to look and see if we can bring in some of our banks.
Okay.
Because a lot of this is going to involve collaboration.
Right.
And if we can start a small business incentivized project, then working with our banks and our bankers to provide training to people so they can actually apply once they've received the training is one way to go about it. So I think it's all part of the learning process to see how we can collaborate. And I think that some of the banks actually get credit, I believe, for investing in communities that are in need of funding. So
I think collaboration with credit unions as well. I think a lot of times people don't even know that they can go to a credit union as a business owner. They think credit union is for my job and so we have a savings account. But I know the credit unions serve in more capacities other than just that. So I think that's another thing that will be a good collaboration if you could do that as well. We're going to talk about transit. I talk about transit all the time. And I talked about it so much last year in March when the referendum was coming out. So what's your stance on the whole transit thing? Because I know right now there are a lot of people saying, okay, we're back at this same place again this year. It got kicked down last year. The citizens said we don't want it, we don't like it, we don't want MARTA, we don't want people coming in here, we don't want riffraff coming. I heard all kinds of things. What's your stance on that?
I think that we definitely need transit options.
Of course.
I think that transit is about economic development, but it's also about empowerment. People, not everyone can afford to have an automobile, and it enables people who can't afford to have an automobile to get to things they need to, such as education, health, employment, and food resources. Some people live in a food desert, and they need to get out of that environment in order to be able to get good food. So I look at it from that perspective. I think that we have a good chance of passing transit, or at least the funding for it. I think the main issue was the timing of the ballot last year, and the fact they did a special election, which I think had a very low turnout. But I think we put on a major ballot, such as in November. I'm pretty sure that we'll have the turnout that's required in order to get that passed. Now, some of the things I listened to the transit review committee they had recently. I think that they made a nice effort, to keep this issue at the forefront. I think it's important that they've identified the fact we need more routes internally, so we can move people around in Gwinnett County itself, which is a positive. Especially if we try to grow our economy, we need to find ways to move things around the county, and that's important. What I have to in some instances defer to the specialists to find out, okay, what is the best way we can do this in a cost-effective manner, just looking at the cost of doing it. But ideally, I would like to see some kind of hub connecting to MARTA, whether it's down at Jimmy Carter or at Pleasant Hill, however it is, so that we can actually have a direct connection to downtown, so we don't have to keep jumping on expressways to go all the time. And just finding ways to move around the county, whether it's rapid bus lines or something else, and encouraging people to use that.
I can tell you, so the first time Virginia and I were looking for investment dollars in New York, And so I'm from Jersey. We drive everywhere. And in New York, they took the train everywhere, right? And so I told her, I said, there should be no fat people in New York because I had to walk. Like, I walked so much that whole year looking for investment dollars for our business. It was crazy. But now I'm here in Georgia. I'm like, man, they need a train because I do not want to get in that traffic going to Atlanta. Like, I would happily park my car and jump a train to go to Atlanta. I don't go to Atlanta a lot of times because I just don't feel like being in traffic. So I think that's going to be a great thing if that can happen.
I'd say that's one of the luxuries that I do miss from New York. Because I did not need a car. Especially when you see the snow outside. When I was still working in a law firm, I literally walked out of my apartment building, walked into a train station, a block or so away, came up inside my office building, and didn't have to go outside at all. And so that's something that if we can provide that, I mean, clearly we can't provide that kind of connectivity. But it just the convenience sometimes you realize what we're missing in terms of what we have right now.
Yeah, I lived in Maplewood, so we didn't have that. Well, that's not true. I could go and park at the train station and jump on the train, and they would put me off inside of the Madison Square Garden, which I was like, that's cool. Because I did a lot of stuff at the Hotel Pennsylvania, which is right across the street. So it worked out perfectly, and I kind of missed that a little bit because I would love to go to Atlanta, but man, every time I think about going, it's like, oh my God, okay, so I need to leave 2 hours early. What time of day is it? It's like you gotta map it out. It's crazy. Like, what time you leave?
So
what time do I leave? I should leave at 5:30 in the morning, so I can get about 7:30, and then I should. So it's crazy, but anyway. And we're gonna touch on one last thing before we go. Let's talk a little bit about the education system. I was talking about yesterday where they're saying they were going to get rid of some of the testing because there's such a problem for our educational system, not just here in Gwinnett, but probably around the world. The kids are over-tested, and the teachers are overworked. And I've heard from a lot of educators say, listen, we can't really even do our job because we spend so much time on paperwork and testing that we can't even be creative in the classroom. So do you have any plans for us in the education space?
Well, basically, the county chair and the county commission has no real input in terms of what happens at the Board of Ed. But we do have influence. And we can use some influence, and sometimes it just involves direct communications between the boards to say, okay, this is what we're experiencing, this direction we want to go in. And I think they probably recognize some of those problems as well. But it really does go back to Will Banks and the board over there to make sure that things happen for our young people. I agree that I have a son who's in the public school system, and I agree that testing is just ridiculous. Spending more time on testing, less time on learning is not really productive, and it's a disconnect for the young people. We have to find ways to engage them and keep them engaged so that they recognize the importance of education, how it applies to the real world. And testing is not necessarily a way to go about doing that. I think also that from what I've experienced talking to teachers is that they feel like their hands are tied. They're not being permitted to be teachers, and they're having to follow this rule book as opposed to being more outside the box and engaging children where they are and finding ways to bring them in. And I think that they need some more of that latitude to be able to find creative ways to reach out young people. And I think we need to find ways to incorporate that. So that's my feeling about it. But I think that at the end of the day, our young people are extremely important, especially for the future of this county. As we continue to grow, the idea is to make sure that they have the skills necessary to get good quality paying jobs. And we can't attract the businesses we want, and we can't develop businesses we want if they don't have a good education. And so what happens in our school system is extremely important to the county as a whole, and it's important to the county chair. And so engagement's going to be important. Again, clearly we can't tell them what to do, but we can collaborate, and we can exert some influence based on what we're seeing, what we're hearing. So,
one of the things I would like to see happen out here, and I know it's happening a little bit in Norcross, and I'm a little bit of a tech geek, a little bit. I would love to see a huge tech hub out here like they have in Atlanta. Norcross is kind of getting there with the Curiosity Labs and all that good stuff. And I love that stuff, but I feel like it's still so far away from Lawrenceville. Like that's a 45-minute ride to get to Norcross.
That's actually a great idea, and I think that's something that the county could champion because we can set aside whether it's particular areas or roadways or whatever it is, with autonomous driving. They're doing it in Peachtree Corners. Why can we have a separate section in Gwinnett County where we can say, okay, we're going to make an investment to attract certain technology to the community, and if they, hopefully they will come and take advantage of this opportunity. We'll work with them. The county does it in different ways. I mean, they do it when we attract businesses. So why don't we just be more proactive and use it in order to attract more of the tech companies that are moving towards the future. So, having a tech hub would be great. FinTech is also big. It's big downtown. And it's a question of attracting it here. And we have the talent. Because a lot of talent down there is coming from here. And, the only problem is just don't have the transportation and transit. But if the companies realize that they can have a footprint here where the employees come from anyway, and who wants to drive downtown? If you could, you don't necessarily always need to be in the office anyway. So you have a satellite or whatever it is, you drop it here. And, employees who live up north, go to the satellite. We can always teleconference, whatever it is. But you go to the satellite office, that's where you're going to work from. And
I think a good spot for that is on the Centerville side. Like, I feel like there's so much space over there to grow. Like, I live on the Lawrenceville side, so Lawrenceville is just getting crowded right now. But I feel like on that side, on the Snellville, Centerville, I feel like it's just opportunities over there. There's just a space for all of this stuff.
They've sort of been passed over as far as everything that's been happening anyway. I mean, that part of Gwinnett has not experienced the same kind of growth. So it is a thought, and a lot of the areas are zoned for opportunity zones. And development. So
is that considered an opportunity zone?
I'm not sure if that particular area is. I know that some parts of Norcross.
Norcross is.
I think probably going out towards Lilburn. So I have to look at, but we can always designate things. I mean, that's also one of the powers the county has is to determine where the development's going to happen, and based on demographics, whether there's going to be an opportunity zone or not, and apply for it. So there are different things we can do in order to take advantage of it.
Okay. So it is good to know. One of the things, I'm always doing something. So one of my things was getting women more involved in technology. So I'm launching an incubator called Her Tech Startup. And so, but it's going to be here, which is out this way, because it's still like opportunities out here as well in the cooler. And I'm saying the cooler because I had to practice saying that because I've been saying the cooler.
I say the cooler.
That's what I've been saying. But they're always correcting me, saying it's the cooler.
Okay. So it's still better than Dacula, which is what I call it for
That's what I call it. It's like it's the cooler.
Say you're from out of town, aren't you?
Yep. I'm like, I'm sorry because I'm thinking Dracula, so I just take the R out of Dacula. So I would love to see that happen. Like I love the fact that. That could be a possibility. I also understand the power of that. And then when I go to Atlanta Tech Village, which I'm there a little bit often, they're doing amazing things there. And I'm like, man, I hate to go. I got to go to Tech Village all the time for these type of things. I want to go to Tech Village all the time.
The thing about Tech Village is right next to Georgia Tech. So if we do, I guess it probably would have to be next to one of our educational institutions in order to facilitate that exchange of ideas. And we have Gwinnett Tech, we have the GGC. So I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't start an incubator of some sort, to take advantage of that.
Okay. Well, listen, Her Tech. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now listen. Tell the people why they should vote for you. Because we're in a crowded space. So right now, it's about 7 people running.
There are 7 of us. 7.
There's 7 people running for this seat. All good people. Okay. Some of them are really great people. Some of them. And why? Why should we vote for Andy Morgan?
Why? I have a passion for service. As I mentioned before, I want to be able to come into the county and make a difference, a positive difference, hopefully, for our communities. I believe I have the background for it. I did mention I've been in the military. I've served, for 10 years in the military in that capacity. And leadership and vision. I think the county needs a certain vision to go forward, and we can't keep doing things we've been doing it all along. And I think we need some fresh ideas. I'm not a politician. I'm really just here to serve and try to make a difference. And I believe I bring some fresh ideas that we can take advantage of and make positive change in Gwinnett County. And I definitely love people to vote for me. I love them to look me up. If you want, you can look me up at my website. It's electandymorgan.com. And you can also go to my Facebook page by the same name, electandymorgan.com. Please reach out to me, email me. Please, if you have the resources, even if it's $1, consider donating. These campaigns require funding, and volunteer, and just be engaged. If you want to see change happen in our community, if you want to make a difference, this is the way to do it. In terms of engaging with the people who are running for office, find out about us, and just come on out and make your voices heard.
Well, thank you so much to listen, guys. You heard it here live from Good Morning Gwinnett, Mr. Andy Morgan. He's running for the Gwinnett Commissioner Chairman seat. And so thank you so much for being here with me and talking to me and sharing with my audience all the great things that you said. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all this stuff pan out. I got a bunch more to talk to. Starting next Tuesday, we'll be talking to Nicole Love Hendrickson. And then I think on the 12th, we're talking to Kurt Thompson. And I already talked to Brooke. So, there was a rumor going around yesterday, and I hope it's not true, that one of your opponents has passed away. Not that I'm aware of. I hope not. I hope not either. I haven't heard anything of that sort. That was the rumor. And so someone texted me yesterday when I was on the air, and I kind of stopped mid-section. God, really? I hope that's not true. I hope it's not true either. But I've talked to her already. I talked to Brooke already early on, way early on, like last year. When she first put it head in the ring, I would say. So it's a lot of people that we're going to be talking to. But listen, if you want to support Andy, you heard what he had to say. I'm sure he's going to be doing a lot of town halls. Do you have any upcoming events coming up? Right now we have an event actually tomorrow. It's not really for the political campaign, but it's about community engagement and information. At the Gwinnett Justice Center, we're doing a forum, a program, and basically inform people about sex trafficking and how to protect our young people against that. And so the forum's going to be tomorrow at the Justice Center from 6 to about 9 o'clock. So please come out and just be engaged. Last year was Sexual Traffic Awareness Month. Last month was Sex Traffic Awareness Month. And we decided to just continue it because it's impacting our communities. And part of Black History Month, we want to make sure that everyone, particularly people of color, recognize that our children are at risk. So that's I will be at that, and we have some forums coming up. So please just check my website. I'll make information available through there or through my Facebook. Again, it's Andy Morgan, electandymorgan.com. All right. So thank you again for being my guest today. I really appreciate this and really enjoy talking to you. Thank you. Listen, guys, I'll be back again on Monday. It's Thursday, so it's about to be the weekend for me. My weekend starts today. Not really, though, because I'll be doing something tomorrow. But I won't be talking to you tomorrow. So thank you again for listening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you spent the last 56 minutes here talking to me and Andy, and I appreciate you so much. If you missed any episode of the show, go to goodmorninggwinnett.com and listen to past episodes there. Also, be sure to download the app from the App Store on the Good Morning Gwinnett app, and also follow me on Facebook at Good Morning Gwinnett, Instagram Good Morning Gwinnett, and Twitter at GM Gwinnett. I'll be back again on Monday at 10 a.m. God willing. Until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in Monday through Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you missed an episode, go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to catch up. If you liked this episode, subscribe to the show now and share it with your friends. To learn more about Noise Media Network, visit www.noisemedia.us.